I welcome everyone to Transform Your Impact. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have an amazing guest on the show. For those of you who haven't tuned in before, Transform Your Impact is me looking at many different areas of leadership and creativity and entrepreneurialism and seeing kind of what the common themes are that will support you to make the biggest impact that you can in the world. So today I am interviewing one of the top meditation podcasters in the world, Chel Hamilton. She was also a hypnotherapist for over a decade, and she's just rocking and rolling in her career, and I'm so excited to hear more from you, Chel.
Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm very excited to be here.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. Great. So will you tell us about Meditation Minis, your podcast, and what amazing things you're up to?
Yeah, so I have this short little guided meditation podcast. It's 10-ish minutes. I started it in February 2015 just to make some evergreen content that could attract hypnotherapy clients from all around the world, because hypnosis and guided meditation are kind of like two sides of a similar coin.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my original intention. And then it just kept growing, and I loved doing the show. I really love podcasters. They're this super interesting bunch of slightly geeky, introverted, most helpful humans in the world. Awesome. And I was like, I have to stay in this tribe. It's such a great tribe to be in.
Nice.
And the show just kept growing, and I got more consistent with uploads. I eventually attracted sponsors, and what became kind of this little evergreen magnet that maybe I'll do a handful of episodes and see what happens has now become like what I do. I just recently stopped seeing one-on-one clients because I'm using the time that the podcast has created for me financially to now do a course and do some guided meditation albums. And I'm pretty sure there's a book in there.
I believe that. I believe that. Yeah. And you just had some amazing, outrageous number of downloads that you just hit. What was that?
Yeah, we just hit 14 million. Now that's not in a month or a week. That's like lifetime of the show. Okay. But it's still a lot of downloads.
It's a big deal.
I remember when I first hit 1 million downloads, and I called my mom and I was like, Mom, I hit 1 million downloads. And she's like, what are you getting paid anything for these? And I'm like, no, it's a podcast. It's free. And she's like, if you just made like $1 a download, if you just made 10 cents a download. I was like, I know, but that's not how it works.
That's not how it works. But how does it work? Because you do get paid for what you're doing, yeah?
Yeah. So if somebody has a podcast and they get over about 10,000 downloads a week, which is actually a pretty high number. I mean, imagine you put something out into the world every week. Now imagine 10,000 people are in a room listening to what you're doing.
It's incredible. It's a lot.
Right? It's a lot. So even if you're doing a show or a YouTube channel and you only have 200 people checking in, that's 200 people. Imagine them in a room listening to what you're doing. So no number is actually too small.
Yeah. It's a big deal.
It's a big deal. Even if you've got 50 people a week tuning in, that's 50 people a week who are listening to you. It's amazing.
Agreed. And at this point, you're up to numbers where it's more like 120,000 people listening to every episode, right? So
yeah. Once you get to about 10,000, you can start to monetize. Advertisers find that a lucrative place. And there's all kinds of like information and courses on the internet about how to do that.
Love it. Love it. Okay. But you're enjoying the impact that you've created and you're out there.
It's amazing. It is not anything that I still cry when I think about it. I'm probably going to start crying right now.
That's great. We love authentic feelings. It's so good. Awesome. Cool.
It's freaking amazing. I get a lot of comments from people that it has just helped their anxiety. I had somebody tell me once it helped their anxiety in 3 weeks more than 16 years of therapy had.
Wow.
Yeah, that was powerful. I get a lot of vets write me saying that it's really helped support them in overcoming their post-traumatic stress.
Wow.
That's always huge. Like those, I'm like, yes, that's, oh, I love that. Anything that is anxiety, stress related, it definitely helps. Like if you've got a lot of thinking. And the thing that I love about this show, I developed something that I could listen to, and I have generalized anxiety in my past. I used to have massive panic attacks. I had obsessive compulsive behavior where I would like have to do certain things. It wasn't full-blown disorder where it was medicated. I struggled with depression, and I also have really bad ADD. So I wanted to make something that even somebody like me who's super busy, have too many things going on, have anxiety, have ADD, that I could actually listen to.
You totally sound like me, by the way. I'm like, yeah, check. Got all those things in the past. Yep.
Yeah, I think it's just another way of saying high achiever.
Oh, okay. I like it. I like that, in positive interpretation there.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
So lots of people who think that meditation is scary or overwhelming find this show really doable. And for some of them, it does lead them into what we might consider a more quote unquote historical meditation practice where it's silent and you're just paying attention to breathing or a mantra or whatever it is. But for others, they find that the shifts that they're making in their mind in those 10-ish minutes, they're then revisiting throughout the day and shifting immediately back into that calm, centered space, which is really the point of it. Like, we get to be in that place so that we can make better choices and decisions in our lives.
Right. Yeah. Bringing meditation into our day-to-day lives is the point of it. It's not to just go off and be a meditator in the cave, right?
Yeah, that's really easy to do. I want to be the person who can handle the crazy city and still be like calm and on point. I think some of the things that I did that really helped support the success and growth of what I'm up to with the show, especially other areas too, but we'll just keep it focused on that. Number one, getting really clear on what my gifts were. Like when I was trying to figure out what to do to create some kind of content, I'm a good writer, but I don't actually like the process of writing. And if you don't like the process of something, it's going to be challenging to be at ease, joyful, and successful. Like people who fall, if you want to be a great guitar player, the best thing you can do is fall in love with the process of playing guitar.
Yeah.
Not the end result, but the doing of it. So that wasn't a good fit. But people would tell me I had to write, right? People tell you have to have a YouTube channel, or you have to do this, and you have to be on 5 social media platforms all at once, and you have to do all the things. And for me, it took just really getting clear on, well, I have a nice voice to listen to. So let's focus on either audio or video. I don't super feel comfortable in front of a camera. I secretly want to be that show, The Midnight Caller. I don't know if anybody remembers this show from like the 80s, but there was a radio host who solved murders, and he would get on the air at the beginning and the end to kind of bookend the show. And it was a midnight call-in show, and he had this soothing, kind of smooth jazz voice. I realized like 2 years into the podcast, that's basically what I created.
That's you. Oh my gosh, it's so funny. Delilah. You've got like the Delilah. Do you know Delilah?
No.
Oh, it's like a similar thing, except it's a woman. But yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So really focusing in on what your gifts are and using those. Like, yeah, we can practice getting better at things that we're not good at, but there's a lot more joy in just sinking into the things that we are good at.
Yeah. I love that. And so what's shifted for you as you've taken that on in your life? Because it sounds like that's what you did with your career.
Yeah, well, I kept looking at all the noise, right? All the noise of the things. And sometimes I still fall prey to the noise because I have ADD. And so it's like, oh, okay. So taking those few moments, getting really calm and centered on where I am and where ultimately I want to be, which for me is a life of joy and calm and giving and adventure and exploration and connection.
Awesome.
Right? So it doesn't have to be like, I'm going to be this thing, I'm going to be this speaker or some goal like that. It's more of an intrinsic, what I want to create, the feelings I want to have in my life. And once you know the feelings, then there's a million different ways to get those feelings. And to get really clear on if this social media platform right here is the one that I feel most comfortable with right now, I'm just going to focus on this while maybe I spend some time learning this other one that I know has an audience that would love what I'm up to.
Mm.
But not feeling overwhelmed like I have to do all of it and it has to all be perfect. And when in doubt, just focus in on that one thing that will move you forward. Like if I could only do one thing today, or if I could only spend 1 hour today on my business, what's the one thing or the 1 hour of things that I would do that would have the greatest arc for moving me forward, the most speed for moving me forward? Because we spend so much time on all the busy stuff that doesn't actually move us forward. For me, the best thing I could do would be to sit in my bed, if that's what I need to do, and make some audio. For everybody, it's going to be different. And for some people, they're great writers and they love the process of writing, and it would be writing and submitting it to Huffington Post.
Right. Okay. So simplifying, but also picking and choosing the things that are really going to make a difference. And, but I'm also hearing that as you're choosing the things that are going to make a difference, there's like a peace in that, because that's actually like the thing that it's like you're kind of following your bliss in that space as well.
Yeah, I would say bliss. I don't know if I always feel blissful about what I'm choosing.
Sure.
But I do know that I feel, okay, yeah, I'm not sure how that's all going to play out, but that is the direction that I can see is going to have, well, let's face it. Okay, I'm super lazy. Like, I am so lazy. People who know me say I'm not lazy, but I am lazy. And so I want to do the least amount of work for the biggest result, period.
Awesome.
And at the gym, that might mean, I do squats because that's going to give me the most bang for my movement activity.
Okay. That's great advice. Great advice, because we run around, we're all busy, and everybody is feeling like they're in some sort of a reality TV show, it seems like these days, right? But it's all chatter, right? Like, what is it actually like leading to for people?
Yeah. It's all noise. So be lazy. Like, pick the one thing that if I just do that one thing, it's gonna, that's good.
Okay. I love it. And you just got back from like a month in Puerto Rico or something amazing like this?
Yeah, I took myself to Puerto Rico. I used to be a big traveler, and then I had a child. And so I got to show up for that for many years, and he's old enough now that I was like, okay, I can leave for a while. It was great. I came back it wasn't what I expected. I actually thought I was going to Puerto Rico to maybe move there. And then what I discovered was that I went to Puerto Rico to get really, really clear on where I'm moving forward next in my life.
Awesome.
Yeah. So the gifts are often not what we expect them to be, but that's what makes the adventure so much fun. It can also translate into making business decisions. So at one point in my business, I was doing like short hypnotherapy sessions pre-recorded for people. We would have a phone call, they would tell me the issue, and I'd do like 3 little recorded sessions that they could then listen to. And I found that I was not making them. Like, you couldn't pay me enough money to sit by myself and make these 3 sessions for people. But if I got on an actual call with them and recorded it live, then I could do it all day long.
Wow. Very interesting.
So I just shifted it and said, okay, we're going to do this live, and I'm going to record what we're on live. And there is something energetically that happens live too that is really nice. Mm-hmm. And rather than doing it the way I thought I was supposed to do it, I just did it the way that worked better for me. Mm-hmm. And then it just worked better for everybody. That doesn't mean you can't experiment with something that's outside your comfort zone, and try it on and see, like, will that eventually get comfortable?
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't go all in on something that doesn't feel in alignment. It's really knowing your gifts, like be clear. And if you're not clear, go ask 5 people who know you, and maybe 2 that don't really know you very well, what they think your top 3 or 5 gifts are. And listen for what they say is the same. Like, I had people say to me, when I'm around you, I just feel really calm. Okay. Well, that would be fitting for a meditation podcast. I actually had friends for 2 years almost say, you should do a guided meditation podcast. And I'm like, no, I'm not a meditation guru. I say the F-bomb. I like to drink alcohol. I have tried veganism, but it doesn't work for my body. Like, I can't be that person. And they're like, no, you really need to do it. And then finally I listened.
So cool. I love it. And thankfully, right? I mean, your life has really taken off.
Yeah, it's been amazing. It's for sure been amazing.
Awesome. So was there a point in your career when you were just like working nonstop, or tell us a little bit about the evolution to where you are now?
Oh, hell yeah. Yes. I'm definitely a type A. And as a single parent, I've been fully responsible for my child since 2010, child support responsible.
Wow.
And so I definitely was a hard hustler. And here's the thing about hustle, like, there's a part of me that still wants to hold on to it and value it because I spent so much time and energy living in it. But the truth of the matter is that I got more results when I stopped hustling so hard and I just focused on those essential things while still kind of experimenting with some other bits and pieces. I got more ease. I got more joy. I wasn't such a bitch to my kid. I'm not saying I don't still have moments. He is a teenager now.
Right?
He is a teenager. And I look at people like Gary Vee and, some of these bro hustlers, and I smile because I'm like, I get it, but that's like a bulldozer in life. They're just bulldozing over. And if it's not working, hustle harder. I'm like, if it's not working, stop, pause, and maybe change to a different path for a minute and see. Like, if you're stuck in traffic, do you want to become a bulldozer, like make your car a big bulldozer and like flatten everybody ahead of you? Or America do you want to be like, I know, right? It's that very masculine, warrior energy. I mean, it sounds fun for a minute, but it doesn't work long term. It's better to be like, I'm going to try this side road. And maybe the side road actually won't be that great either. But you're flowing, you're changing. It's more like you're a surfer on the waves. And you're learning to just like, okay, I'm going to ride the wave this way. That said, hustle has its place. You just don't want to live in it.
What would you say would be, if you could give one piece of advice for the thing that's transformed your impact the most? What would you say that's been, or what advice would you give to the people who are watching?
Yeah, I would really practice like the art of simplifying things down to the essential qualities, the essential needs. If I can only do one thing, or if I only had 1 hour to do something for my business, what's the thing that's going to move me forward the furthest, the fastest, with the least amount of effort on my part? Essentialism. Be very focused on what those little drops are and just do more of those.
So you have a nice gift for the people who are watching. Will you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I pulled together 5 of my favorite meditations from the podcast, took out all of the like ads and the extra talk. And your listeners, the people on this, viewers, actually, I'm used to listeners, will be able to access that for free.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Really
My
appreciate
pleasure.
your wisdom, and I'm so excited for everybody to listen to your podcast and to take away some of the beautiful lessons that you're teaching. And thank you so much for being on our interview.
Thank you so much for having me, and have an amazing week.